The Beat of the Bronx, a Yankee podcast with Russ Lichty. Today's episode is brought to you by Your Bronx Dentist. Come meet Dr. Ebby and his team at two convenient locations in the Norwood and Throgs Neck sections of the Bronx. Schedule your next appointment at yourbronxdentist.com. And now, here's Russ.
Yo, episode 26. It's been a week since we last spoke. That last game of the Mariners series, the Bronx Bombers have won 5 straight series here in the last week. We got through the Subway Series. Yanks came away with the win in that one, and it was a fun series, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. And like we said, Yankees won 5 straight series. They are going for the sweep today of the Texas Rangers. And, weather permitting, the Yankees said they have all intention of getting the ball game in, with scheduling, because Texas doesn't come back to New York. So, we'll see if there's a window later on, but been pretty wet and un-May-like feel here, chilliness in New York City. But let's get right into it here with the Yankees. We'll get into it with the Subway Series, the return of Juan Soto. And that Friday night, it was pretty much, as advertised. Have you seen what kind of response Soto was going to get? You saw the bleacher creatures turn their back on him. I thought it was perfect, and I kind of agree with what Michael Kay said, that everything was just fine until the whole stadium was chanting in expletives. There is some young children who go to games, and some people who don't like cursing and stuff, and it's one thing to do it here and there, but it was very repetitive. It seemed like it was repetitive throughout the weekend, and agreeing with what Michael Kay said, that was the only issue that he had with anything. But Juan Soto really didn't show up at all. When it comes to the baseball standpoint, 1 for 10. He did have 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, was leaving guys on base. He made one nice play in the field. That was going to running towards the right field gap, but other than the theatrics basically every at bat and every time he took the field. Other than that, there really wasn't much noise from Juan Soto. The Yankees, did take the series against the Mets on Saturday. Really, the only blip from the bullpen was Fernando Cruz, and that was Clark Schmidt started that game. He gave up 2 runs in that 4th inning. It was tie game going into the ninth inning. Fernando Cruz had a walk, a hit by pitch, which led to a sac fly from Francisco Lindor, and that led to the loss. Edwin Diaz came in. He got Austin Wells to strike out, Ben Rice to line out to third, and really challenged Judge with a high fastball. He got the top of the order 1-2-3, but the Friday night game and Sunday night game was a different story. The main thing from that Sunday night game, which real nice ball game, but Jorbit Vivas had the 11 pitch at bat that really it set up the Pete Alonso era for the run to score and for the floodgates to open and the Cody Bellinger grand slam, and the rest was history there. But it was a nice series. We'll see how, if anything, see how it goes July 4th when they go over to Citi Field. But the Mets were up in Boston, and Juan Soto, just hasn't, just doesn't seem like he's been, himself or the same type of player that we seen last year. So, the Juan Soto, the talent, we know the type of talent and the type of hitter that he is. He'll come around eventually. There's been the rumors that he's unhappy. I don't know how you can be unhappy making all that money on that contract, but hey, the rumor is he wanted to be a Yankee, and he obviously didn't stay with the Yankees. He chose the Mets for $5 million more and some extra incentives there. But that's all in the past. He'll be a Met for a long, long time, and I'm sure that things will come around for Juan, and he'll have a nice, illustrious career with the Mets. But with the Yankees here, Cody Bellinger having an illustrious month of May. Um, coming into yesterday, he hit the home run off Jacob DeGrom. Now DeGrom was really dealing yesterday. At one point, he had 15. It was retired 15 straight batters. Ryan Yarbrough was excellent last night with the 5 innings. He did have Jake Berger and had a couple of home runs there for the Texas Rangers, but Yarbrough really has been doing his job and more. 1.93 ERA over his last 5 appearances, and the one run, and also with the Yanks. With the ball game last night, getting into that with winning the walk off fashion, Jason Dominguez with the walk off home run into the Bronx night into the second deck. It was some shot that Dominguez hit. It got out real quick, but with the one run games here now, the Yankees a lot of one run games so far this season. Last season, their record was 19-18. They're 5-9 already in one-run games, and it just seems that they've been struggling a lot in those one-run games. That they couldn't really itch together that late comebacks. As of late, but last night was the first walk-off home run since September of 2022, which was the Giancarlo Stanton Grand Slam, the walk-off Grand Slam off Aroldis Chapman and the then Pittsburgh Pirates. It also was the same game Judge hit his 60th home run of that historic, 2022 season for him. But it was very, very interesting. A few takeaways, from last night. Also, we talked about the Bellinger 15-game hit streak. He's really been carrying the ball club as the hottest hitter since the last time we spoke. It's pretty much been the Belly, Judge, and Goldschmidt show. Goldie's really starting to pick it up. Anthony Volpe has shown blips here and there. As of late, you really want to see him get that bat going a little bit more. Is it starting to affect him in the field? He had the real big triple yesterday. But one thing I do want to get into before we wrap up, this Rangers series today, and hopefully the Yankees can get the sweep today. But Aaron Boone was on Brett Boone, his brother's podcast. Now, Brett Boone is the hitting coach for the Texas Rangers now, and there was a clip that I shared, to my story on Instagram that I thought was hysterical and very funny because Boone, even though the Yankees they challenged uh, the throwing the steal, and the play was in the favor of the Yankees, and Boone was still hot and still mad at the umpire. Now, it brought me right back to seeing that clip from Brett Boone's podcast that he was talking about how he's Brett himself is, I think he said, only thrown out of a game once or twice, if that. But Booney, who we know has a short temper out of the dugout, as a manager, and is known to blow a fuse every now and then. But Booney was actually thrown out his first major league appearance. So I guess it's a little, it tells you kind of all you need to know. But Booney's very passionate, and most of the time he does it. It's in good reason, but sometimes it is a little bit over the top. But I found it very funny, last night with winning the challenge, but still being upset. But Yanks are 7-3 in their last 10 games, 3-game win streak. Like we said, they won the last 5 series, and that's pretty much all all you want to do when it comes down to a baseball season, because we know it is a marathon, not a sprint. You just want to, keep stacking wins and taking series. So as of right now, that's what the Yankees are doing. They're currently 5 games up on Toronto, who is 24-24 in the American League East, and Boston's 1 game under 500 right now, 5.5 games back. But the Yankees are giving themselves here, a nice, pretty nice May cushion, and the pitching staff has really been doing their thing. As of late, this past go around through the rotation. I know, Clark Schmidt, he did get they didn't get the win on Saturday, but Clark, pitching into the 6th inning, yet again, it's really something that we're starting to get used to here now. The last few starts from Clark now, we always, been talking about how we wanted more length in, out of Clark Schmidt here. And, as of late, we're starting to get it. So, I mean, he's really, really been coming around. Still gets the quality start. Hopefully, this could be something that we get used to now. Because we could use Clark becoming that 6th inning pitcher. It's something that we asked for. Last year he had that bugaboo, always getting through the third time of the rotation, and it's just nice to see that Clark is stepping up a little bit here and molding into the pitcher that we know that he could be. Now, what's up next for the Bombers today? They have they're going to finish out the series. They have all intention of finishing out the series against the Texas Rangers. We'll see what the weather is. Like I said, right now it's about 10 a.m. here on May 20th, 10 a.m. exactly as the clock, turns 10 a.m. May 22nd, Thursday. It's a cold, rainy day in the Bronx. Does not feel like uh, incoming of Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully the weather changes a little bit here, but Yankees have, big, another West Coast trip here this month, and a lot of off days this month, but heading back out west to take on the struggling, lowly Colorado Rockies. Then they'll be going to LA, and then with an off day in between against the Angels, they'll be taking on the World Series World Series rematch here against the Dodgers. Tonight we have Carlos Rodon versus our old friend. Well, today I should say Carlos Rodon versus Nate Eovaldi. Now Los's last start, 5 innings. He's Los has been everything we can ask for so far this season. Three, four. I mean, his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, other than the blip against the Athletics, those home runs, his past 5, 6 starts have been really really nice. I mean, the home runs have been down. Going into that start against the Athletics, he had four straight quality starts, but Los has been the strikeouts have been there. You can just see, he just looks like a different pitcher out on the mound than what we've seen last year. And I do want to get into that with the pitching staff, how they're looking a little different here. Because Brendan Cuddy had an article that came out talking about Garrett Cole, of how he's working with the pitching staff, and all different aspects. And in the past, we've talked about on past episodes when he's gotten hurt now, that Garrett could be a third type of pitching coach, and which he has been doing. And in this article that came out here, it talks about how he's worked with Will Warren. They speak multiple times a day, and anytime around the ballpark, whether it's in the weight room, training room, around the clubhouse. They speak multiple times a day, just about everything and anything about being a pitcher. And Cole helped Max Fried get acclimated. They talked about it. Late in spring training. Max Fried was talking about how one thing that he just has to do is get acclimated with the new type of system and the new surroundings. And it talked about how Garrett Cole helped out with that matter to get Max Fried acclimated to what it is to be in the Yankee. And look at what Max Fried has been doing. He's the leading front runner right now for the American League Cy Young. And it talked more about how Will Warren is more comfortable now. And as we can see, the last three starts that he's had have been unbelievable. But with Cole, he's just also with Carlos Rodon, it said that he worked on his Carlos Rodon's delivery. So could that be something that's helping limit the home runs like we've been seeing? Because last year Los gave up a lot of home runs, more than should be, and this year he's really honed that in a little bit, and it's been great. All in all, majority they've been really good starts when Rodon's out there, and you're pretty much at the point now where you kind of know what you're gonna get, and it's with Nate Eovaldi coming in today. Eovaldi has been really really good so far this season. Ever since his Tommy John surgery of late, it seems like his velo is up, and one of the top pitchers in the American League, and we know what he did in during the Texas Rangers World Series run. Just Eovaldi, the Yankees can have their hands full today. Not only just with the weather, with the pitching matchup, could be, we could be in line for a pitcher's duel here. But one also one thing, with this West Coast trip now, we've seen, hopefully the Yankees can take care of business against Colorado. In Colorado, maybe get some of the bats right here. Would love to see, because we're going to be seeing him playing a lot more with the with the Oswaldo injury that we had last week. We're going to see Oswald Peraza a lot more, and we see how good he is with the glove. Just he want to see some more with the bat, and just the way he's the way he's been hitting. You want to just see a little bit more with the bat, because he's a slick fielding third baseman right now at any position you put him at. Just seems that he gets the job done with the glove. Just want to see a little bit more from the bat. Austin Wells has been also, struggling a little bit. Wells and Volpe really, on that standpoint. You're seeing them come around a little more now, but more consistency. You want to see more consistency, because if you really break down the numbers, you see Belly's really, Belly Judge is just playing like he's from another planet right now. Goldschmidt, especially against lefties, but Dominguez against right-handed hitters. LeMayu, we saw DJ come back. So could DJ, this West Coast trip, going back to a familiar playing field, the Coors Field, could it give DJ some type of resurgence here? That we could definitely use. He had the home run in the loss on Saturday, but want to see some more hard hits out of DJ. He's been doing the thing with the glove, really, turning back the clock, making some nice plays. Had the big double play in the Subway Series. Just want to see a little bit more, because we're gonna need it. We're gonna need it. I mean, how Trent Grisham, as hot as he's been, it's slowed down, a little bit. So Judge hasn't slowed down at all, but Bellinger's, starting to pick it up. Goldie slowed down. He's picking it back up again. But, the lineup is a series of up and down. So you want to see, some more of these guys really get going now. Because if you look, the past week, a lot of the batting averages, the low 200s for the last week. I mean, Ben Rice had the big home run, but want to see some. He's been hitting the ball hard, getting that average up a little bit. But the Yankees have been, they've been getting timely hits. We talked about the struggling in the close games, even 2-run games. It's in the close games they get interesting, but with the bullpen now, as strong as the bullpen's been. Ian Hamilton had the two little blips in the back-to-back games. Thankfully Dominguez was able to bail the team out yesterday with the walk-off, but Ian Hamilton has surrendered home runs in in the last two games. And if you saw late last night, I saw it this morning. Brendan Cuddy on X talked about how Brett Hedrick is expected to be coming up. So we'll see what the corresponding move is for that with Hedrick. But Fernando Cruz is we saw him on Saturday, and that was the game the Yankees lost. He had the little hiccup there in the ninth, with the walk, hit by pitch, and the sac fly. But that's the last time we've seen him. And Booney was talking about how he's been dealing with something with his shoulder. So we'll see. We'll see what happens on that front now with Fernando Cruz, because he's been really kind of lights out here for the Yankees. And would be a bummer if it's something really serious. Because you're just having Loizic coming back, who's been great. So it's like, we always talk about the injuries, they work themselves out, but he's dealing with a shoulder issue. And so that be the reason why Hedrick's coming up? We'll find out most likely later on today. There's nothing as of yet, but when we do find that out, as usual, as always, I'll share it, to my story over there on Instagram. Like, we put all the news out. But with the injury news and notes here, Luis Heel is 2 weeks into his throwing program. So that's when will we see Luis Heel come back? If I had to guesstimate, I would think we're looking probably around that early July 4th time, if all goes well. Giancarlo Stanton, according to Aaron Boone, is nearing the end of his running program, and they were talking about yesterday about how his rehab process is going to be a little bit different than usual, because he doesn't have to play the field. He's only DHing, and he's been doing a lot of the live BPs. The videos you've been seeing, Giancarlo's getting a lot of at bats in there. They talk about how he's on the high velocity traject machine that emulates pitchers movements and pitching types, and it's pretty much a computerized version of you plug in the pitcher that you want to face, and that's what you see from that standpoint. So that's basically like taking spring training live BPs. So could Giancarlo just be activated? His time's coming up to end on that 60-day IL. They told us the end of May, early June. We're almost there, May 22nd. So we'll find out sooner rather than later with what's going to be going on with Giancarlo, whether it's a rehab assignment. I think there's a good chance that he just one day he's just going to get activated, and that's going to he'll be splitting time at DH with Ben Rice, because the way Benny's been hitting the 10 homers, 22 RBI, mashing the ball. How do you take him out of the lineup? So you gotta find a way somehow. And there's even rumblings that he's been taking ground balls at third. The Yankees, we know he can also catch. We haven't really seen him that much behind the dish, which is only one appearance really this season. In the minor leagues he's caught, but haven't really seen him that much at the major league level. You've seen him fill in here and there at first, sparingly, but a lot of DH, duties for Ben Rice. But it's a shame, maybe he could play some third. A lot of people say, oh, too bad he can't play the outfield. But time will tell on, with that. If Ben Rice, it'd be very hard to make a position change at the major league level. But yeah, you never know. Really, you never know. But Booney talked about how he's kind of slick over at third, but he downplayed it by saying a couple of weeks ago they had Goldie taking ground balls at short. So that's the way he downplayed it. But JT Brubaker, pitcher, that the Yankees, we've heard about for a little bit of time now, working his way back from injury. His rehab is now with the Hudson Valley Renegades. So when his rehab assignment's over, it's the Yankees would have no choice of there's no options or anything. So you would have to, when he's ready, he would come back. So he could kind of be in the mix. And do they kind of look at JT Brubaker as another one of those like Luke Weaver reclamation projects? If you remember when Luke first came over to the Yankees, he was a starting pitcher. And, it was towards the end of that, could Brubaker start? Could he be a long man? Did they make him into type of reliever? If you want to compare his stuff, it's kind of similar to Luke Weaver. They're kind of similar type of pitcher. So something to keep an eye out for. Have how JT Brubaker is going to be used on his road back from recovery. And we were told Jake Cousins had a setback throwing in his live VPs. He has pec discomfort, so he's been shut down for a few days. And that was a couple of days ago we got that. And Jazz should be nearing rehab assignment soon. They said he's a little bit of ahead of schedule. He's been asymptomatic with his oblique injury that he has, so he could be back, maybe sooner rather than later. And Jazz was struggling before before going on the injured list. So the addition of him now, coming back, see how it plays out with the roster. But we know, things like that always, tend to play themselves out. Yankees for a first place team, that's five games ahead here now. May 22nd, going, pretty much after today with the off day. No, actually, no off day. After today, going into the West Coast trip. Um, they could go in today at worst being 4 games ahead. In the division, I mean, there's a lot. We do have things that we can complain about. But it's real. I think it's not foolish but silly. Kind of to sit here and complain about there is needs. There's all teams have different needs, but for right now, the way things are going for the Yankees, just if Oswald Peraza can get that back going a little bit, man, with the way he fields the position and that top prospect pedigree. I mean, you just don't want to. We've wanted to see him for so long. We've been talking about it. He played in the ALCS a few years ago when the Isaiah kind of Falefa days, and then Volpe beat him out. And now you have two of our top prospects that we've been hearing about on the left side of the infield, and you just want to see the bat come around more because one field's better than the other. It's unbelievable the slickness between Volpe and Peraza. You just want to see the bat come around more, and then you see like the times when Vivas is in the lineup with that at bat he had during the Subway Series. I mean, just want to see more of that, but more of the results. But Subway Series, we weren't at. I didn't go to any of the games, but watching it this past weekend, it looked like it was a real fun, especially for our side. Definitely for our side. We'll see how things change in July, and hopefully, like we said, maybe Luis Heel could be working his way back and could be pitching one of those games in that Subway Series. That would be nice, and that would be something. But hopefully the Yankees can get the win today. Enjoy the rest of your days. Stay dry out there with the rain, and enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Be safe. God bless. And as always, go Yankees. I'll talk to you guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Beat of the Bronx, a Yankee podcast. You can follow Russ on all social media platforms using the handle at NYYankeeDad. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.